And now it's time for the further adventures of Big Jon and Sparkie. Today's chapter is entitled, Who is Yuki Rustflaw? What a mystery we had. What a mystery. Ever since Yuki lost his memory, he didn't know who he was, nor did we. He claimed he was old Charlie Rustflaw, so we took him up to East Cantankerous, Illinois. And lo and behold, Clarence Rustflaw, the mayor of that funny little town, said that Yuki was his son Charlie. So that seemed to settle it once and for all. Well, Mayor Plumfront, Sparkie, and I were getting ready to go back to Cincinnati, but first we wanted to do some sightseeing in the great metropolis of East Cantankerous, Illinois.
Hey, Big Jon, Mayor, come on, you two, let's go outside and take a look around East Cantankerous. I'm anxious to see what this town is like.
Oh, I don't have to take no look around this town to tell you what it's like, lad. It's loony, that's what it is. Loony is a bunch of bats in a belfry. It's a town full of nobody but a bunch of people named Rustflaw.
Say, you know, that's right. So far, we haven't met a single person in East Cantankerous whose name isn't Rustflaw. This town must be made up of nothing but members of the Rustflaw family, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I was just talking to 3 little boys last night, and they all looked exactly alike.
Triplets, no doubt.
No, their names were Rustflaw, too. They were brothers. They were all born on the same day in the same year.
Well, those were triplets.
No, they're twins.
What?
With an extra one thrown in for good measure.
Oh.
Their names are Lukey, Dookie, and Zuki Rustflaw.
Oh, me, this town is batty as I've ever seen a batty town. If you ask me, this is exactly where that guy Charlie Rustflaw belongs.
Well, you'll have to admit, though, Mayor, that Cincinnati isn't going to be the same without Yuki. Charlie Rustflaw. It's hard to get used to calling Yuki by his real name.
I'll never get used to it. I never once dreamed that Yuki Butcher was really old Charlie Rustflaw.
Well, it certainly was a strange case. Here all the while, we knew Yuki Butcher all these years. He was really Charlie Rustflaw, suffering from amnesia, and just thinking he was a fellow named Yuki Butcher. And then when he got hit on the head during that fire, instead of losing his memory like we thought, actually, he got his memory back.
Yeah. Well, let's go on outside and see if Charlie is ready to show us around town. You all set, Buster?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm anxious to get this over with and get back home to Cincinnati. Open the door, will you, please?
Yeah, I'm anxious to get home, too. Ooh, look at that seedy-looking old dog there. What kind of a town is this, anyway? Ain't that the same dog we seen sleeping in the middle of the street when we got into town yesterday?
Yeah, it's the same dog. Of course, he doesn't have much to worry about. There isn't any traffic in East Cantankerous. I haven't seen a single automobile excepting our own ever since we got in town.
Yeah, some town. Well, Charlie and the lad are around in the front of the porch. Oh, go away, dog. Go on, get back into the house here and go to sleep.
There he goes, under the house. I guess he understood you, Mayor.
He ought to. Dogs are smarter than the people around here.
Well, there you are. Hey, howdy, fellas. Hey, you ready for your sightseeing tour around town before you go back home to the big city of Cincinnati, hey?
Well,
Yeah, come on, let's get going. Where do we go first?
Oh, well, I don't know. Let's just walk down Main Street here and see what we shall see.
It sure is funny calling you Charlie after calling you Yuki all these years.
Well, I find it hard to believe that I have ever known you fellas before I met up with you just the other day. You say I went around telling everybody my name was Yuki Butcher, huh?
That's right. Boy, you lived in Cincinnati for as long as I can remember, and everybody thought your name was Yuki Butcher.
Had a lot of friends in Cincinnati, huh?
Oh, Charlie, you had lots and lots of friends in Cincinnati. Everybody knew you.
Say I got around a lot, did I?
Well, you see, Yuki, there I go, too. You see, Charlie, you owned a taxi cab which you drove around Cincinnati, and, of course, that way you made a lot of
One of your
friends.
very best friends, Charlie, was old Walter Wobbledink.
Yeah?
He owns a gasoline station. And Smiling Sam Bishop Sr. He was another one of your very best friends. He owns a bowling alley.
Don't forget Papa and Mama Krausmeyer, lad. Yuki always liked them, too.
You mean Charlie?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were good friends of yours, too, Charlie. Then there was Mr. Schmetlock, who owns the delicatessen.
And don't forget all the fellers in our club, the Limburger Cheese Marinated Herring Lovers Society of Cincinnati.
And don't forget us either, Mayor. We were probably Charlie's very best friends. We were always together.
Yeah, you remember all those games of dig a ditch with the ace of spades we used to play together?
Dig a ditch with the ace of spades? That sounds like a funny game.
Oh, you liked it. Yeah, you liked it, Charlie. That was one of your favorite games. You were pretty good, too. You liked that and Tiddlywinks.
Tiddlywinks? Oh, no, not me. That was one of Yuki Butch's favorite games, though. He was a champion. Played on the Tiddlywinks Olympic team with Coach Stuyvesant M. Creechslurp. Yeah, old Yuki was a good Tiddlywinks player, all right.
Yeah, I know.
Say, Charlie, what's this old building here? Looks abandoned.
Oh, well, this here's the building I told you about yesterday. This is where old Hiram Rustflaw used to have his tailor shop. At their window upstairs there on the right, that's where Abraham Lincoln had his law office. Yep, that's the window he used to throw his pants out of down to old Hiram so Hiram could press them for him. Now, over here to the left is the factory where we make our famous skunk fur coats. This factory is owned by Melvin Rustflaw's brother, Yasha. Yasha Rustflaw makes the fur coats, and he buys his furs from Melvin's skunk farm, you see. Yeah, fine.
Skunk fur coats. Boy, that's a funny business to be in.
Yeah, well, somebody has to make them, lad. After all, we can't all be in the sweet smell and perfume business. Well, and speaking of sweet smell and perfume, right next door to the skunk factory there, or the skunk fur coat factory, is the Ox Brothers Beauty Parlor, where East Cantankerous, Illinois' famous perfume, Canal Number 6, is made.
Do you make perfume here, too?
Oh, lad, East Cantankerous, Illinois is famous for its Canal Number 6 perfume. We sell most of it to a perfume factory in Paris, and they take it out of our bottles, and they put it in their own fancy bottles, and they give it a new name, and also a number, too, a different number, some silly name like Channel Number 5 or something like that.
Wait a minute, you mean to tell me that you make perfume here and sell it to a company in Paris?
Fine.
Paris, France? Paris, France, where the world's finest perfumes come from?
Oh, no, not Paris, France. Paris, Kentucky.
Hey, what's that around the corner there?
Around this corner? Oh, around this corner you will see the most amazing, awe-inspiring sight you have ever seen. Take a look at that, fellers. That there is what they call Rustflaw's Folly. What do you think of that?
Wow.
Oh, boy, will you look at that? Why, it's as tall as a skyscraper. What is that?
That's the famous chewing gum machine I told you about there, Sparky Lad. The world's biggest chewing gum machine. It's as tall as the Empire State Building, but at the bottom it's got a little slot where you insert a penny and a piece of chewing gum comes out, you see.
You mean that giant-sized chewing gum machine as big as the Empire State Building is filled up with chewing gum?
Right to the top, Sparky Lad. It was filled only once. That was when it was built 20 years ago. Ain't never run out of chewing gum since. Of course, the gum's a little stale by now, but that don't matter. Only reason old Charlie Rustflaw built this here chewing gum machine is because he liked to see the little man inside spin around and do his dance when the penny was put in.
You? What do you mean the only reason old Charlie Rustflaw built this here machine? You talk like as if old Charlie Rustflaw is somebody else.
Well, of course he's somebody else. Who'd you think he was, Mayor?
Why, he's you. You're old Charlie Rustflaw.
He's me? Hey, Big John, there's something wrong with the mayor here. He thinks I'm old Charlie Rustflaw. Tell him who I am. Tell him my name is Yuki Butcher.
What are you...
Don't just stand there with your mouth hanging open like that. Don't tell me the whole bunch of you think I'm Charlie Rustflaw. What's the matter with everybody around here? And how did we ever get up here to East Cantankerous, Illinois?
Well, up until a few moments ago, you insisted you were Charlie Rustflaw, and we didn't believe you. And that's why we brought you up here, to prove to you that you're a Yuki Butcher. But when we got you up here, Clarence Rustflaw, the mayor of this town, said that you are Charlie Rustflaw, and that you're his son.
Oh, I don't believe him. He never could tell me and old Charlie apart. But I know how to prove to you that I'm really Yuki Butcher. Come on, follow me over to old Clarence Rustflaw's office for a minute.
Well, boy, now I'm really confused. Is Yuki Butcher or is he Charlie Rustflaw? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. kids, things happen so fast and furious and confusing around here, I don't know what to think. I'm like the mayor. I don't know if I'm coming or going. First, Yuki has us convinced he really is old Charlie Rustflaw. Even Charlie Rustflaw's daddy told us Yuki was Charlie, and then all of a sudden Yuki says he's Yuki Butcher again. Now, which one is he? Well, you tell me, I don't know. Well, here's old Clarence Rustflaw's office, and Yuki says he'll prove to us that he really is Yuki Butcher. Well, maybe we'll know for sure the next time we see you. Maybe, I said.